It is a peaceful rally as indigents of Imo State, largely made up of youths and businessmen, take to the streets of Owerri to canvass support for the governor. The group explains that the Hope Uzodimma administration needs more support to ensure the delivery of democratic dividends to the people of the state.
This is the first time in the history of governance that a governor will tell you that he is going to go into the roads for construction during the rainy season. Other governors told us to wait, let the rainy season end. But he never did that. He has gone into the hinterland. If you go around the city, you see that there are new construction going on everywhere. This man has done what, notwithstanding the COVID-19 pandemic.
They should trust Senator Hope Uzodimma. He is a man who is passionate about the development of Imo State. He means well. He is not greedy. He is compassionate. He is lovable. He is humble, and he means well for the state. I want Imo people to support him, to give him the support. It can only get better.
Away from the Solidarity rally, some APC stakeholders at a news conference in Abuja passed an absolute vote of confidence on the governor and some leaders of the party in the state.
We are satisfied with the developmental agenda of the governor represented in his 3 R's agenda: rehabilitation, reconstruction, and recovery. We urge all Imo State citizens to support the governor in his strive to achieve the set agenda.
As the people of Imo State await the dividends of democracy under this administration, indigents are optimistic that their expectations will be met speedily.
Welcome back. Well, we've got Emeana, who is the secretary of the People's Democratic Party, joins us from via Skype in Imo State. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today on the program. Well, I'm sure if you heard that report where they're thumping their chest now, passing the vote of confidence on the governor concerning his performance so far, infrastructural development. Now, what is the perspective of your party? Because if they say he's done roads, people expect it to be visible. Are you of the same view that some of these roads have been done, as the party says?
Good morning, Chamberlain. I was once a member of the Imo State House of Assembly. When members of the assembly begins to pass a vote of confidence on the speaker and leadership of that assembly, it means that there is trouble. A group of people who have paid money to gather in one hotel to pass vote of confidence on the governor speaks volumes. Clearly, that is not the wish, that is not the expectation, that is not what is on ground. I would have loved the situation where your station is taken around Imo State and see the deplorable state of roads in Imo State today. Hardly any road in Imo State today is passable. There is despair, there is hopelessness, there is anger, there is anguish in Imo State. For the past 4 months or thereabout, civil servants have not been paid. Imo State is better described today as the capital city of demonstrations. Hardly any day passes without civil servants demonstrating, pensioners demonstrating, lecturers demonstrating, supper deck staff demonstrating, market women demonstrating. Imo State is in a state where anger, anguish, poverty has taken over the state. So for a group of people to gather in a hotel and pass vote of confidence on the governor, it means that they don't have the interest of Imo people at heart. And by the way, can they say, for the individual who was in government for 7 months, they have been in government for 7 months, can they lay claim to any physical infrastructure development that is on ground in Imo State today? What has happened to the educational sector? What is the state of our health in Imo State? How many test centers do we have for COVID do we have in the state today? The government, it appears on ground that the government is on strike. That's what is happening here. Even the House of Assembly members can't be paid their salary. They are even on strike. House of Assembly members are on strike. because their salaries can't be paid. So anybody who is
to
gathering
address,
to do
just hang on a minute. We'll see if we can take on those issues one after the other. Let's bring in Mr. Onuegbu, who is the Commissioner for Lands in Imo State. He joins us on the line as well this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Well, first, he wonders, Mr. Emeana wonders, why there's got to be a vote of confidence other than letting the performance of the governor speak for itself. He says no roads whatsoever are being constructed, as your party claims, Mr. Onuegbu.
Good morning, channels. Good morning, Chamberlain and the team there. Good morning, Mr. Emeana. Good morning, Nigerians. The position Emeana is advancing is born out of frustration. If stakeholders in Imo State, who are natives of Imo State,
go ahead, just go ahead, we can hear you.
If they decide to pass vote of confidence on the activities, official activities of the governor, the popularly elected governor, Senator Hope Uzodinma, it is because they are happy with him. Are you saying that a former deputy governor of Imo State, former secretary to government of Imo State, former House of Assembly members, national officer of the party, that they are joking, they gathered in a hotel room? Where would the press conference be held? In their bedroom? We must bear in mind that PDP is still smarting under the loss of the loss and frustration of losing the governorship, by which the Supreme Court restored the mandate of Imo people in favor of Governor Hope Uzodinma. They are not even talking about the COVID-19 pandemic. They are trying to pass warped and partisan judgment against a performing government. Let us take one case. He talked about roads.
Go ahead.
We have Opera Nozier Street, Amiibo Street, we have Umuahia Street, we have in Aladin Mahazine Estate, we have Mbano Street, we have the Catholic Church Street. They have all been completed, asphalted with drainage completely. Asking why there is no flooding at the Okigwe Road about to Government House that used to take the size of vehicles during rainy season. It is because this government has desilted all the manholes in a way that the flood water now passes through where they ought to pass through under the master plan of Owerri. Ask him, is he still angry that the state government was able to recover government vehicle given to him as a secretary of a political party to use? Is he unhappy? Is he unhappy because the governor has been able to do verification of pensioners without spending 495 million, which they spent, and did not find one false pensioner?
Yeah, but Mr. Onuegbu, the controversy about the pensioners, which part of what he was alluding to, because there's been protests, pensioners saying, look, they have not been paid. So what is the current situation? Because, I mean, that protest, everybody saw that protest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The pensioners in Imo have been paid, but in April and in March and April, we were verifying directly the population of the pensioners. It's caused a delay in payment of March salary, which was not because there were no funds, but because the governor insisted on verification. And after that verification, they have all been paid. The people were instigated, some of them were instigated to come to the street, even on the 20th of a month, to come to the streets to agitate for payment of March salary. But it is sorted out because the government has saved over 2 billion naira from that process. Now, just oppose this with the time when the illegal Ihedioha administration was in charge. They brought a consultant from Lagos who was taking 20% of the pension budget, and they were paying 490-something million to the consultant. We have saved that. They are not happy. Are they unhappy that we now have civil servants who are paid according to their number? Okay. When the government published the list of those who inflated pension funds. Has anybody contradicted that publication? The answer is no.
Well, you also heard him say, are you saying that what he alleged, what Mr. Emeana alleged the other time, that civil servants have not been paid is not true? Are you saying that there are no civil servants in Imo State that are being owed? Just to clear that.
I have mentioned the routes. Now, there are no civil servants being owed. Any civil servant who has passed through the process of verification, bringing your data, including your BVN, receives his or her money through bank alert system. There are some issues where certain persons were encouraged not to pass through the process by the cabal that was benefiting from that problem. So those people are going through the process of presenting their bank details, their BVN number, and they are receiving their payments that are owed now. But it is not up to 10% of the civil servants. Let the Civil Servants Union contradict what I'm saying. Let the Nigerian Labour Congress contradict what I'm saying. Let the Union of Local Government Workers contradict what I'm saying.
Let's bring in Mr. Emeana now to widen this conversation. Yes, you have responded to some of the allegations, but Mr. Emeana, clearly he thinks that there is actually a need for that vote of confidence, and you have said that you were part of the State Assembly, and when there's a vote of confidence being passed, that means there is trouble. And it begs the question, is that something you probably did, or what do you mean by that, basically, saying there is trouble?
The APC in Imo State is in crisis. They have 3 factions, and each faction is laying claim to legitimacy. And what you see is a play out of one faction trying to give confidence to themselves. Having said that, let me also remind you, you have a state correspondent in Imo State. Send your correspondent to go to the Onuegbu to take him to the roads he claims have been done. Is it the Futo Yagba road that is unpassable? Is it Olu road? Is it the Uraba road that they have abandoned at Emeana College? Which state road have they done, asphalted and with drainage? So let your correspondent go and let him go and take your correspondent and show them the state of these roads. The APC government in Imo State, it's a government of propaganda. He's talking about fraud. They came in the government during the dry season. The flood challenge in Owerri was sorted out by Ihedioha when he paneled a committee of experts from all walks of life to study the perennial flooding system in Owerri. And thereafter, all the channels were opened. And that is why today there is no major flooding going on, even though they are busy covering those open channels are being covered again by waste. So it has nothing to do. What we hear in Imo State all the time is, let me tell you what they do, to tell you how unfair they are to Imo people. The other time the Commissioner for Information came on air as far back as 3 months ago that all civil servants have been paid, all pensioners have been paid, only for the governor to contradict him the day he addressing leaders in Imo State that people were being owed, and the reason for their being owed is because of they were doing verification. Mark you, the commissioner had already told us that everybody has been paid. Today, the Commissioner for Land is also telling us that everybody has been paid. Again, I challenge you to ask your correspondent in Imo State to interview workers in Imo State, and you'll be shocked what will be revealed. What they do, which is very unfair, is they go to ministries and pick a few individuals, pay them, and parade them on air to claim they have paid civil servants, when in actual fact, the totality and majority of Imo civil servants are being owed upwards of 5 to 6 months. And I challenge him. And if you have a debate for me, where we will present, where Imo people will present, if these things have been done, why are civil servants protesting? Why are pensioners protesting and slumping in front of government house? Only a few days ago, the Commissioner of Land Information threatened that any more demonstration in Imo State, that they will arrest the people. Why is he threatening to arrest people? You see, what we have in Imo State is that when Imo lights complain, instead of this government taking responsibility and addressing their complaint, they will say it is opposition. And I've had cause to challenge this government that for no reason other than propaganda, they have the capacity to even blame opposition when they are hungry. When they can't feed themselves, they say opposition is responsible while we are hungry. That's the kind of every day they are busy churning out one propaganda or the other. There is nothing happening. The government of Imo State is on recess. We don't see them. They don't even the people, even the appointees, their own appointees, SAs, PAs, have not been paid for more than 6 months after appointment. And we are the citizens of this state. We stay here. We work together. We eat together. We meet. They come on television and smile, only to come around and beg and tell you a different thing clearly that nothing is happening. And nothing is happening in the state. It is unfortunate. Of course, we don't expect anything different. They came here without the mandate of Imo people. And that is what they do every day is to pick out opposition elements, they threaten them, intimidate them, arrest them, charge them to court. That's the only achievement they have recorded for the past 7 months. But
all right, Mr. Man, just a minute. Okay, Mr. Onuegbu, now you, the governor, having assumed office, there was his first broadcast wherein he said that that they are going to pursue a policy of comprehensive Medicare with primary and preventive components which shall achieve 75% coverage of the populace across 27 local government areas within the first 2 years. What has he done about this so far?
Yes. Thank you. If you come to Imo, you will notice that the local government, we have 27 local governments, and these 27 local governments as of today have in their custody fully equipped ambulance service. We have the intervention for the COVID-19 pandemic that has also brought in additional ambulances for Imo people. It is not so much to talk about political opposition when the people on ground know that things are getting better in Imo State. In the last 1 month, the state government has distributed palliatives in all the local government areas on more than 3 occasions. There is a union called NOLGE, National Union of Local Government Employees. If Mr. Emeana is talking about payment of salaries, I think the better authority will be the union head, the Association of the Civil Servants, and the NOLGE in Imo State. I challenge him to tell us where the union has made any statement, or the NLC has made any statement saying there is selective payment of workers in Imo State. There is nothing like that. He talked about Owerri Road. He should remember that Ihedioha Illegal and Government awarded that road and paid 70% upfront to one China construction company. That road has remained like that because the contractor alleged that despite the 70% paid him, he had to refund 40% to the powers that be then. That's why the road is like that. We have just re-awarded that road and work has started on that road in the last 3 days. Let him tell you whether Douglas Road, he has not been passing through Douglas Road. If the road is not done, let him tell you that despite the rainy season, that the roads in Aladima I mentioned have not been done. The thing is that this textbook opposition has to stop. Imo people's welfare is paramount in the mind of the governor. Right. We must stop the use of consultants. Okay. So the health issue is being addressed. We have the best record in Southeast for the COVID-19 epidemic, and everybody knows that Imo is doing well in the health sector.
Okay, so I mean, I think most of our conversation has centered around road construction. I'm thinking a lot of people will be wondering, is governance just about road construction? Yes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. But yes, we've touched on health. But I recall also, the governor when he came into office, some of the promises he made, because it's on this we'll measure his performance. And I recall he talked about, science-driven education system, focus on skills acquisition, innovation, manpower development, and entrepreneurship. And he codenamed this the Imo State Education Opportunity Program, saying it will be established. And I mean, not just at the state capital, other areas, there are youths that could, do well with jobs and skills acquisition. The question is, how far has the governor gone in this light?
Is it for me?
Yes, absolutely, Mr. Onuegbu.
Okay. Now let us take it on a basis of assessment. Governor Hope Uzodinma has been in the saddle since the 15th of February. So we haven't even exhausted the period Ihedon has spent governing Imo illegally. But if you come to Imo State, education is our best and the largest industry. We have a state university, Imo State University. We now have a University of Agriculture, fully licensed and operational at Onuegbu, courtesy of Governor Hope Uzodinma. You, like he said, you have your correspondent in Owerri. In Imo State University, despite that students are at home because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the structure of the university is working very well. We have just announced a calendar for our students who are in the exit classes who will take school certificate exams and NATO. We have also commenced the rehabilitation of certain primary school, secondary school buildings. So the teachers who are the teachers in our school system, you can interview, you will find out that we have averaged a payment of more than 80% of the teachers in Imo State, subject to those who have not verified, like I said. So judging the governor on less than 7 months being in office, talking about performing expectations or plans for 2 years is unfair. But given the limitations of the COVID-19 pandemic, this government has done so well. Despite the
when is the other part of the verification going to be concluded?
I think what is outstanding, I think it's almost over, because by the end of August, everybody who is truly on the list of unemployment with Imo State University should have done the verification.
Okay, because before now, there was IBC and some of those other agencies that during Labor Workers Day, they spoke up saying they had not been paid. But we'll come back to that. Mr. Emeana, could you go ahead, and because this says, look, about now, this is going to be over, and then the remaining 20% of the verification that has not been wrapped up, I think it should be wrapped up by now, and then they will go ahead and pay. Is that what you were referring to when you said they had not been paid? So we'll see how we can sort that out, just getting some disruptions on that connection. But let's get back to the commissioner now. When those protests happened, and then you wanted to sort out the verification, were you referring to before the Workers' Day or after the Workers' Day?
Before the Workers' Day, there was a protest by a motley crowd of hired hands. Even those who claim to be pensioners, if you look at the video, you will see that more than 60% of them were people under 40 years. So that happened before May 1. And the union, after May 1st, Workers' Day, confirmed the receipt of payments by Imo State government for their members. I am still insisting that Emeana cannot be concerned about the welfare of Imo workers more than their associations and their unions. And I think the best authority will be the chairman of those associations in Imo, not Emeana, who is angry that we have taken over by the grace of God. So the important thing is, why are we talking about only Imo in a country of 36 states?
Just jump in and ask you this because, I mean, on Workers' Day itself, we have, I mean, the report is right there if you check it out. The NLC, because you were saying that you won't see anywhere where they said anything about, not being paid. But it turns out that during that Workers' Day, the state chairman of NLC, Comrade Austin Chilaku, did say that they had been owed. He listed some of those agencies that were affected, including the IBC, Agriculture Development Program, that's the ADP, Imo State Water Corporation, the secondary school teachers, who they say they were being owed. Were they not being owed when this protest happened on May 1?
1st of May was 2 months ago. 1st of May was more than 2 months ago. In fact, 3 months ago.
There was no such thing at the time. That's why we're bringing it up.
Now, what I would have expected is that since May 1st, you would have interviewed Sheila again. As at that time, IBC, for example, their system was that the government would give a bulk check to IBC to pay the workers.
Okay,
But
pardon me,
the
I understand we have
government
Mr.
said, "We are not
Emeana
going
back.
to
We need to bring him on before we wrap up. Mr. Emeana, could you go ahead and just give your response as we wind down?
I want to remind Barrister Onuegbu that they came into office on January 14th and not February 14th. I want to also remind him when he talks about I should ask the unions, the leadership of the unions. The same that he's talking about took Aquatoria to threaten this government that they will go on strike. When he's talking about the leadership, he's talking about compromised leadership of some of the unions. We are talking about the body of the civil servants, the citizens of the state who are supposed to earn salaries. These are the people we should talk about and not. And he's talking, as we speak, IBC staff, he's talking about health. The teaching hospital staff, the teaching hospital, Imo State Teaching Hospital at Olo, they have been on strike for the past 5 months and they are being owed for 7 months. He's talking about health. You're talking about what they said they have announced calendar for exams. That is an achievement for any there. That is unfortunate. But Ihedioha came in and started 5 vocational training institutions, 4 vocational training institutions. The buildings commenced, work was in progress. All those things have been abandoned. What we are saying is not about propaganda. It's not about talk. Let this government do a documentary of their achievements in the past 7 months they have been in power, and not talk about opposition. I have a responsibility. I am a citizen of Imo State. I have children. If this state is good, I will benefit. My family benefits. Everybody will benefit.
All right, Mr. Emeana, we do thank you. We need to wrap up at this point. Emeana is the Secretary of the People's Democratic Party in Imo State. We've also joined by Mr. Onuegbu, who is the Commissioner for Lands in Imo State. We will be back and focus on another matter in just a moment. Stay with us.